What's going on, everybody? It's UIJ here, bringing you guys today the Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 88 review. I know I released the spoilers late because yesterday the chapter came out and I was expecting it to come out today, but I started working on this video yesterday, and if you don't know, I'm editing my videos myself, and that last video, which was on the spoilers, was the first video I ever edited myself. So let me know in that last video, if you check it, check it out, how the editing was, or you feel free to let me know how the editing in this video is as well in the comment section down below, with that thumbs up or thumbs down button as well. All those interactions do help, and if you're liking this content, feel free to subscribe, and feel free to check out the other content I have on here, especially my music and all my other gaming content. All those links will be down below in the description box. But without further ado, this chapter is picking up directly after the events of the Granola and Gas arcs, and this is actually a prequel to Dragon Ball Super Superhero, like the spoilers were stating, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, we pick up on Planet Vegeta, and you get to see, everybody eating, slamming on some noodles. Vegeta's not partaking. He's actually just focused on Frieza. Typical Vegeta move. But the narrator lets us know that, Goku is now aware of the massive power gap between him and his foe, as is Vegeta. So that's pretty awesome to know that we are getting that notification that there is a gap. Goku knows the gap. I wish we got more, and I wish we got to see when the guys meet up with Broly, but I'm pretty sure in due time we will see that, maybe the next chapter. But transferring over to Earth, you see the boys partaking in some cleanup, as they like to call it. They're saving a little town, actually a jewelry store, not a town, a little jewelry store. But they're just whooping on some criminals, whooping on them so bad that one of them decides to uplick on my boy, and Trunks ain't having it. Trunks breaks the gun, and this is pretty funny. He puts the gun in the bag, and he tells him, "Now dispose of your trash properly." It's pretty funny, And these guys are super Giga Chad right now. It's pretty hilarious to me, but it's crazy because initially I was like, "Oh, this is so adorable. The boys are all grown up, and nope, they're just getting guns pulled out on them already." It's pretty great. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, you see them just whooping on some butt, obviously, and then Goten has a little funny moment that I appreciate, where he's just like, "Knives can't be disposed with normal garbage. What a pain." He tries to stick a knife that he takes from the criminal in a garbage bag. It's pretty funny. But after they're done cleaning up, as they like to call it, their cleanup is complete. They're reprieving on a rooftop, and just like I believe the spoilers were talking about this, just like the spoiler stated that they start talking. Goten gets a notification, rather, that there's another attack going on, a theft, and it's actually a cyber attack. And Trunks gets disappointed, and Goten happens to say something that a lot of people are pretty upset about in the Dragon Ball community. He states, "You've never been great with computers, Trunks." So a lot of people are a bit butthurt about that. And as the chapter progresses, you see that there's some hints that Trunks isn't this dumb goofball. He actually has some wit to him. It's just like, you'll see what happens as we progress through. But the boys, they're also mimicking a clean god who happens to be like their Tony Stark of the DBZ universe. So it's pretty cool. But they, right before they go their ways, Goten leaves his uniform with Trunks, and Trunks tells him that he's going to go ahead and get it modified for them to be very similar, and modified in the way that Gohan's Saiyaman costume was modified, to where the watch, would turn into the suit for them, so they could just easily go in and out, because Trunks hates the way that they have to get undressed out of their costume. So as Trunks is trying to, head home, he runs into Dr. Briefs and Mrs. Briefs, and they don't notice him in the costume because he puts his helmet on quickly, and but Dr. Briefs' pet dinosaur actually notices Trunks, and it's pretty funny because Trunks is like just having a little moment with the dinosaur, and he's having a thought bubble of just mean mugging this damn little cute dinosaur, and he's like, "Sit," but in a thought bubble, which is super hilarious, and the little dinosaur just sits. I love this little part, but super adorable. But Trunks takes off, and as he takes off, Dr. Briefs points out that more and more youngsters know how to fly nowadays. So I wonder if that's reference to other kids that have been flying, maybe other super beings, maybe Oob, I'm not sure, or maybe he's just noticed that these guys are young. But Trunks states that he'd really be in for it if his mother finds out that he's been blowing off studying to play hero. So this is a reference, I believe, and I'm not even gonna say I believe, but this is a reference to why he's not that great with computers, because he's been ditching class, you know. So and he's been not putting off his studying and shit like that. So it's pretty funny and pretty cool that Trunks is kind of going the opposite route of what Gohan went, where Gohan was all about his studies. Trunks is more so trying to fight crime and stuff, and I think he's more in tune with that side of his Saiyan heritage, which is awesome. But Dr. Briefs points out that voice sounded very familiar, and you know, he Mrs. Briefs tells him to help her pick out a set of flowers for Pan, and because, you know, she graduated kindergarten, or she's starting kindergarten rather, and Dr. Briefs is just, you know, typical rich guy. He's like super unsure of what to get this little girl who's only 5 or 6 years old, but he insists that he gets her an aircraft because she was super upset that she couldn't fly with Piccolo and the others. And you know, Mrs. Briefs is like, oh my goodness, she doesn't even have her pilot's license. And he's like, astute point, no aircraft, then how about a castle instead? And the gardener that Mrs. Brief bought the flowers from is just a castle for a kindergartner. Quite a gift. You know, it's pretty funny that you know, it's true though. Like, what the hell, you're gonna give a kindergartner a castle? But then the dinosaur notices something, and Mr. Briefs wonders why the dinosaur is roaring all crazy. He turns around and notices a bunch of helper bots, and they're just malfunctioning and they're running away. He doesn't know where they're going. They're wondering where the hell these robots going. And when Mrs. Brief turns around, she fucking notices this Frankenstein looking android thingy or something. I don't know, but she gets spooked out by it. But we end up transferring over to the next day, and you know, it's just we're at Capsule Corp, and Trunks runs to Pilaf. Pilaf gives him the costume, letting him know that Goten's will be ready. So a lot of this stuff is from the spoilers that we got from DBS Hype, courtesy of him rather. And you know, Bulma runs in, and she's just like, and what might you two be conspiring about? Catches Trunks, and Trunks is like, hi mom, conspiring? Nah. And she's like, whatever it is, aren't you late for school? And Trunks screams out crap, and he takes off. But before he takes off, he runs into Mai, and he insists that he helps Mai with this heavy box, because Mai and Shu are lifting this big old box. Picks it up for her, places it on a table, and he does my boy Shu bogus, because Shu's just like, you want to give me a hand with mine? And Trunks ignores Shu and ends up leaving for school. Poor little Shu. Just look at him. Why would he do poor Shu like that? He just, oh man, as a dog owner, I just couldn't. But yeah, we go ahead and we come back to Bulma calling out Pilaf for trying to take the Dragon Balls, and she calls him out and tells her to give the Dragon Balls back. And you know, he gives the Dragon Balls back, obviously, or says that he will. So we go ahead and transfer over to Trunks on his little Gohan call back to the Saiyan Man arc, and he's on his little bike, and he's just going to school, and he stops at or passes by a hot dog stand, and the hot dog guy gives him the hot dog. Trunks gives him the coin, and yeah, they just have a little exchange of words, and it's pretty cool. But what's funny on the next panel rather is Trunks notices a guy driving his car, Super Giga Chad, with his blonde bimbo. She's this Giga Chad tosses out a can, and it almost hits a baby in a stroller, and Trunks flicks the can, and the can hits the guy driving. So it's pretty funny. But Trunks arrives at school, tries to sneak into school through the window. Actually, not to school through the window. He tries to sneak into his classroom through the window. Like, my dude, what the hell? And even the hot dog stand guy was like, what the, like, if you say so, kid, like, all right, bro, because Trunks told him all he had to do was sneak through the window. Like, bruh, all right. But Trunks gets another write-up, and his teacher tells him, continue this tardy streak, and your time at this school may be over. So this is, again, insinuating that Trunks has been putting off his studying, coming to school late, maybe even freaking ditching school to go play hero. So this is, this is pretty opposite of Gohan, and I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. So as we continue, Trunks has a conversation with his buddy Compass, and Compass kind of scolds him, telling him, hey man, this is not how a CEO acts. And Trunks tells him he doesn't want to be CEO. He doesn't want to run the corporation, and he doesn't care for being rich. That sounds boring. He needs more excitement in his life. So after class, one of Trunks's buddies comes up to him. Her name is Rula, and she invites him to go check out these ghosts at this mountain called Mount Butterfly, and or this abandoned building rather at Mount Butterfly. And Trunks gets spooked out. This is another part where a lot of people in the community are a bit upset at, because they're like, why is Trunks scared of ghosts? He has a super ghost kamikaze attack when he's fused with Goten, and when they're Gotenks and blah blah blah. And I'm just going along with it. It was pretty funny because this chapter, nothing crazy happens. It's 55 pages, but it's just, it's just this, and it's slice of life, and I like it. It's fun. This is the type of stuff I've been actually waiting for, because it's cool to get away from all the OP stuff and really have these characters develop, especially characters like Trunks and Goten, who I really, really adore, and they have a soft spot in my heart, because, those are the first characters I saw when I was a kid, because I started watching Dragon Ball Z from the Boo arc, and then I went back and rewatched everything. So those characters always have a special place, and I don't mind this at all. Nobody thought that we'd be here at Dragon Ball Super, so we're here, man. But Trunks declines rather going to the ghost hunting, and everybody's wondering why Trunks is like, what's going on with Trunks? He's been ditching them lately. He doesn't want to hang out anymore. And Trunks thinks to himself as he walks off, a dare? Give me a break. I can't handle ghosts and ghouls and all that spooky junk, right? Sorry guys, stuttering and stuff. But yeah, he just seems to be terrified of all that paranormal stuff, which is, ghost is creepy, man. Ghosts are scary, dog. Ghost. But after school, Trunks runs into Goten or catches Goten talking with one of his buddies, and he invites Goten over to play some video games. Goten accepts, and we go transfer over to them at Capsule Corp in Trunks' room playing the Clean God video game. And Trunks seems to be a bit bored, and he talks about how he just really wants to, beat up some bad guys. And Goten points out how, he can't wait to transform, and Trunks tells him he already has transformed with the watch. He did it during his free period when he went to go get the Clean God movie tickets. And Goten gets excited, but Trunks apologizes because he wants to take mine. And Goten already kind of knew that he was hinting that at wanting to take Mai, so Goten ain't even really tripping like that. But when Trunks walks up to Mai to go invite her, Pilaf has to decline for Mai, which I find it weird that Pilaf is declining for Mai, even though Mai told Trunks that it's not her thing. The Clean God movie, the superhero movies, like, why would you invite a girl to a superhero movie? Unless she already is your girlfriend, then you're like, hey babe, let's go see this. But even then, it's like, why don't you just go by yourself or with your buddies? Like, it's I don't know. That's just weird. But, Trunks is ballsy. He's a kid. He has the courage of the youth. But, Pilaf declines because all these helper bots, all the malfunctioned helper bots, so they're going to be, backed up fixing them for a while. So Trunks basically decides to take it upon himself to go fix it, like the spoiler stated. So Trunks goes and he gets Goten to help him out with something. Trunks goes back to his room rather and gets Goten, and they go out ghost hunting, or robots hunting rather, because Trunks doesn't remember the ghost. Goten actually points out that there's been reports of ghosts, and that's when Trunks freaks out and he tells Goten to cut it out. And Goten has to point out, well, that's funny because I'm pretty sure our dads died and came back as ghost or whatever. Pretty funny that he points that out, but Trunks tells him that's not the same thing. When Trunks turns around, he bumps into a Frankenstein-looking android thing, but a different one, not the same one we've seen Mrs. Briefs run into. So when Trunks tells him, goes to say he's sorry, he notices his face, he freaks out and he runs away and he says, I do believe. Super funny little panel. But as Goten is looking over around the corner, Trunks, he calls out Trunks to come look, and basically they notice a remote control, and this guy uses the remote control on this guy's other dude's helper bot, and it makes the helper bot go haywire. So Trunks and Goten take it upon themselves to follow this guy who seems to hop in a car. So the car leads him to Mount Butterfly, and this is where Trunks gets super spooked out, and he tries to even back out of it, and he's like, it's pretty late and dark, how about we come back in daylight? And Goten has to check his man. He has to tell him, listen, bro, he tells him, he's like, what's the matter? Don't you want to solve this mystery so you can have your movie date? And besides, I thought you didn't believe in ghosts. And Trunks is like, you're not wrong there. And now Trunks is thinking to himself, and I love this panel. I absolutely adore this panel because it's just Trunks with two thought bubbles, and it's one with Mai and one with the Frankenstein ghoul that he ran into, and both of them are getting bigger, and finally the Mai one overtakes him, and he's like, fine, let's do this. He gets the courage, but then he notices Goten is up ahead at the building, and he screams, darn it, don't leave me alone, Goten, not cool, man. And Goten has to check him again. He's like, shh, shut your ass up, boy. And they look inside the building, and they notice a bunch of like robot looking ghouly thingies, the ghouly thingies that seem to be androids, and the helper bots, they're packaging sushi. And they're noticing that this is probably the packaged sushi that everybody's been raving about in the city, and now Trunks is kind of grossed out by it. But basically, mummified little android ghoul, he screams out, who are you? And the kids get scared, and they're like, they hide. But then you go to the next panel, you see that Trunks' buddy Compass gets grabbed by the throat by this mummified android thingy, whatever the hell it is. But the boys obviously are like, oh no, we got to do something. So Trunks transforms. He tells Goten to stay there because Goten doesn't have his costume yet. And Trunks goes inside and he kicks some ass. He takes care of business in there, right, with relative ease. But he comes across this football player, zombie android thingy, and basically this guy can tank one of Trunks' attacks. I believe this was in the spoilers as well. But the guy tanks Trunks' upcycle punch, and then Trunks puts some more oomph into the next hit, and then he basically destroys the freaking or actually before he's about to put more oomph into it, we got to back up. Before that happens, right, Trunks is getting ready to wind up, and he goes to cyclone style tornado hurricane, and right as he's about to hit it, the lights or his costume change, and then Goten has to shoot out the lights, pull out the classmates from in there because they noticed that it was Trunks. And then once the classmates are gone, Trunks is able to go Super Saiyan. For some reason, his costume watch works again, so he's back in his costume, and he just beats the heck out of this football player android, which is named Alpha 12. We find that out in a few pages ahead when Dr. Hito comes back. But I just want to talk about this panel right here where Trunks punches him, and he's like, a superhero, and it's just awesome. I like this. Like Toyotaru, he has some awesome panels, and the last arc with Gas fighting everybody and Granola fighting Goku and Vegeta, there was just so many awesome moments. So I really appreciate the art as of lately in the Dragon Ball Super manga, which it gets a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up on my end. But after Trunks is done taking care of business, Goten comes back. They have a discussion. They look around. They do some investigating. Trunks finds a safe, opens the safe, and he finds a confidential disc that has Dr. Guido's name on it, right? So it's like, ooh, what's this? So as the boys head out after taking that disc, they run into Krillin, and Krillin informs them that there is actually freaking reports of the living dead, and Trunks flips out. He's like, what, Walking Dead? Dead people walking? I should have known they really were ghoulies. That's hilarious. I love it. People are mad about that, but I just love it. It's pretty funny. Gives Trunks a whole new level of depth. He's no longer that badass kid. He's just like, he has more depth, I always loved the little mean Trunks, but he's growing up, and he's a bit different now. But Krillin asks him, what are you talking about? And then we transfer over to Dr. Hito, arriving at the sushi factory, and he notices all his droids are beat the hell up, and he's like, oh my goodness, Alpha 12, tell me what the heck's going on. Alpha 12 still alive, informs him that kids from the school, Blue How High School, went ahead and beat the hell out of everybody and took the fucking disc. So Dr. Hito panics, and it's just a whole little fucking, panicky moment for Hito, and he's like, looks like he's about to have a fucking heart attack. It's pretty funny. But he has the logo from Blue How High School, so it's like a little patch from, I guess, Trunks's one of the students jackets or something, or uniforms rather. Wow, can't talk right now. But as we see in the next panel, Trunks goes ahead, and the next morning he tries to invite Mai, but there's just more helper bots, more than usual. And it's funny because you see Pilaf, he's like, gah, gah, endless toil, a day off unthinkable. The recall was canceled, but now we've got a small army's worth of broken bots to repair. And, he's just freaking out. We'll be going without sleep in the hopes of meeting our quotas, because they have to work in exchange for staying at Bulma's house, so it's pretty funny. And then Shu tells Trunks they found a whole heap of the missing bots in the old place up on Mount Butterfly. It seems like someone had smashed them to bits. Trunks freaks out and he's super upset, and he's like, I can't believe it. And that's the end of the chapter. Nothing too crazy, just slice of life stuff, but awesome, fun little chapter where we got development for our characters, our boys, rather, our youngins, our little homies. And I don't think that nobody really should be too upset about that. I think that people should be a bit happy. It's something different, and hopefully they continue to give us some different stuff, including after they finish this prequel stuff. Like, maybe this is just, I'm wondering if this is just gonna be it's just gonna be like a few chapters, or if it's gonna be like a whole arc, and then we go ahead and get another arc. But that's what I want to know. I want you guys to give me your thoughts. What will we see? Will we see, like, freaking 20 chapters of this going on, this prequel, and then lead into, the superhero movie being adapted into the manga? Or do you think we'll get this arc and then we'll get right back to Goku, Vegeta, and hopefully Broly? I would love to know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this little commentary review, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, and feel free to hit the subscribe button and check out my other content, especially my music. That's the number one thing that I am here to do. I love rapping, and I also love talking about nerdy stuff. So feel free to check out all my other content. I'm going to have a MCU video up hopefully tomorrow or within the next few days. It's going to be a chunky one, so I got to get that one ready to go since I'm editing my own videos. But I really do appreciate you guys staying here to check this out if you made it all the way through. And with that being said, guys, all right, you guys take care. I have all my links down below in the description box. And until next time, UIJ out.